Welcome to the Basics of Virtual Assistants podcast, your go-to destination for all things virtual assistant. I'm your host, Paul, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have you join us today. Just 4 short years ago, I took the leap into the world of virtual assistants, and let me tell you, I have never looked back. Now it's my turn to help you take the same exciting path. As we explore this world together, I'll be sharing my experiences, insight, and all the valuable lessons I've learned along the way. So get ready to explore the world of virtual assistants, uncover its limitless potential, and let me guide you on your path to becoming a successful virtual assistant. Your transformation into a skilled virtual assistant starts right here, right now. Let's get started. This week's episode is going to be a fun one. We're going to be talking about things not to do as a beginner VA, and of course, I'm going to be letting you know what you should be doing instead. But before we jump on in, I wanted to let you know that I have a Facebook group just for new virtual assistants. I'm growing a community for new VAs to help them learn, grow, and connect with each other. You can find us on Facebook as the Basics for Virtual Assistants. So let's get into today's episode. The first thing that you should not be doing as a new virtual assistant is cold DMing. Now, this one is definitely from my own personal experience. When I first started out, I cold DM'd pretty much everybody I followed on Instagram. And I'm telling you now, it got me nowhere. I didn't build a relationship with them. I didn't try and make it personal. I copied and pasted it and I sent it out to everyone I was following, and it epically failed. I got no clients at all from cold DMing people. And also it took a definite hit to my confidence. So what should you be doing instead of cold DMing? Now, for me personally, there are 2 things that I really like to do. The first thing is I like to send an email out to clients, just something that says who I am, what I'm all about, and then I make it really personal to every single business that I reach out to. I write how I can help them, what I love about their business, what I've learned about their business, and then I send off an email. Now, if you are looking for a template for this, I actually have one. I have a template. I will drop the link in the description box. But that is my first thing that I do. The second thing that I sometimes do is I nurture them in Facebook groups. So if I find a client that I would love to work with and I'm in a Facebook group where they are, I like to go in and comment on their posts and share advice with them. Now, I'm not going into Facebook groups and selling myself to them unless they are specifically asking for that type of thing. But if I'm in a Facebook group and they've asked a question and I know the answer, I know how I can support them, I do that. And I make sure that it's really clear who I am. For me, I don't have a business page on Facebook. I just use my personal page. But that is connected to my business. When I'm working as a virtual assistant, I am myself. I don't have a business name, but if you have a business name, it's definitely worthwhile going in with a Facebook page for your business name to answer so that people can find you that way. And I just, I nurture them in the Facebook groups. And then when I think that they're looking for someone that they might want to work with, I jump in and I send them that email and I mention, I noticed on Facebook you were asking about this. I can actually support you in that. It's like about building those connections. You want them to either in your email show that you've paid attention to their business and you know something about them, or bring yourself to their attention in the Facebook groups. And then once you've done that, send them an email and make sure the connection is really clear between the Facebook group and your email. You will be surprised how more likely people are to hear you out, connect with you and work with you if you've built a connection with them than cold DMing them. So that is the first thing that you need to stop doing as a new VA is cold DMing people and start working on getting to know your potential clients, researching them, and then sending them an email. So the second thing on my list is lie. Now, I see it all the time in VA communities and speaking to business owners who are looking for VAs or who have worked with VAs previously, is the amount of people who lie about their experience or what they can offer. Okay. A business owner is 1,000 times more likely to want to work with you if you say, look, I'm either learning, I have basic skills, or I'm willing to learn, then if you come in and say that you can do something and show them this big grand offer and then fall flat on your face because you actually can't offer that to them at all. You don't have the skills, you're not able to do it. And unfortunately, people do this all the time. And I understand when you're a new VA and you're kind of almost desperate to get clients, you really want this to work, especially if you're just diving in and this isn't a side hustle. I can understand how people feel that this might help them, but all it does is ruin your reputation as a virtual assistant, because businesses talk, especially if you're working with ideal clients who work in the same industry or area. So for me, I work with Australian teachers who have teaching businesses. And so people in a country like mine all talk. Everybody knows everybody, whether they're from the same state, same town, it doesn't matter. They're all connected. And so if I get a bad reputation with one, then that will spread very quickly. Okay. So you really need to consider that when you're connecting with clients too, that, everybody talks to everybody. Everybody knows everybody in the business world. And lying is it sets you on the back foot. Not only is it something we shouldn't do in the first place, but it's just detrimental to you long term. It is better off that you are honest and you explain to them that you don't have the experience, or you're learning, or you're new. There are so many business owners out there who completely understand where you're coming from. They also started off as brand new people in business who are learning as they go, and they had no idea either, and they had to learn on the job. Business owners get it. They would rather your honesty than for you to lie to them and fall flat on your face. So that one is pretty simple. Just don't lie. Be as honest as you possibly can. And if that client doesn't take you on, they're not the client for you. Now, the third thing is a little bit different. And I think that some people are probably going to disagree with me on this one, but I don't think you should rush into getting clients. I think as a new VA, you should make sure you have the basics set up before you even think about jumping in and getting clients. Now, that might seem a bit disheartening. I know. I felt like when I first started, all I wanted to do was dive in and get clients and just start working. But if you don't have the basics set up, getting clients is going to be super difficult. Getting yourself organized for work is going to be super difficult. And you just won't have a good understanding of what you need to work well with your clients. So I have a free guide available. I will put the link in the description. It walks you through 5 things that you need to have set up before connecting to any clients. All of these sorts of things are really important to know before you dive in and have clients. Like, yes, obviously you can learn as you go, but I found out the hard way that it is actually easier to be set up first. I was not set up for my first client, and it was probably not the best experience for either of us when we first started. It was very clunky. There was a lot of back and forwards. She had never had a VA before. I'd never worked as a VA, but I took some time between my first client and my second client, and I really got that process set up and ready and organized. And when I took on my second client, it was so much smoother. It was so much easier for both of us. And so it's so important to have all of those things set up and understand them before you dive in to getting clients. Now, number 4, this one is one that I did myself, and it is something that I hope no one else ever does, is underprice yourself to get clients. Now, I see it all the time. People are desperate for clients. I get it. I've been there. But underpricing yourself will not get you the type of clients you want to work with long term. All it will do is set you up to burn out really quickly or be disheartened with working as a VA in the first place. It will not help you reach your financial goals. It will not help you set yourself up for success. All it will do is make you feel disheartened and burnt out. Okay, I know from experience, for the first year and a half as a VA, I worked on a ridiculously low rate. I worked huge hours all over the place trying to fit it in around my kids so that I could make enough to justify staying home with them. And I look back now and think I could have made so much more progress. I could have been so much happier as a VA in the beginning if I had just charged the rate that I should have been charging. If you go and listen to episode 8, 9, and 10, these episodes are all about pricing yourself. And so you can go back and listen to them and figure out the best way to price yourself, how to charge, that sort of thing. But my biggest tip for this is to make sure that you are charging a reasonable rate for the type of work you're doing and the money you need to be making. It is important that you are making enough to cover your costs and make it worthwhile to be home. Now, I'm not saying go out there and charge $100 an hour and work 4 hours a week. That is not a reasonable rate unless you're a specialist VA who's, I don't know, a unicorn made out of gold. But you still need to make sure that you are charging a reasonable rate for your work. Now, number 5, and this is one that I think everybody does once or twice, and that is avoid the red flags. Now, when you have a discovery call, you should be asking all of the questions, and one of them should definitely be, what do you expect from this working relationship? What are your expectations? And if you see any red flags or hear any red flags or get any red flag vibes, you should pay attention to them. Too often, new virtual assistants ignore red flags in clients because they're excited to work with them, they're excited to get started, they're excited to jump in. But if you are seeing those red flags right from the beginning, you should cut and run before you even get involved with that client. It is so important to listen to your gut, to have a really good understanding of what you want out of your business and not let your potential clients railroad you into doing something you don't want to do. It can be so easy to see the red flags and completely ignore them because you want to work with a client, but it will not benefit you in the long run. It will just make it more difficult for you. And red flags can look so different for everybody, but some big ones are when they don't have a clear understanding of the time that a task may take and balk when you say that it might take a little bit longer than they expect. For example, if you say to a potential client that a task will take 4 hours and they expect you to get it done in 2, that is red flag because they do not have a clear expectation of how long that task might take, and they're probably not going to give you the leeway to learn. Yes, it might take you only 2 hours 6 months in, but if you are just starting a brand new task and you are learning everything, it may take 4 hours for the first few months until you understand it properly. And if a client doesn't understand that or isn't able to see that when you explain it to them, that in itself is a red flag. If they are dubious of your pricing rate, if they're dubious of your payment terms, if they seem a bit funny about anything to do with payment or prices or packages, then that in itself is a red flag. So there are lots of red flags that you might see along the way, but it is important for you to listen to your own self and your own instincts around clients. We are not always going to see all the red flags in the beginning. Everybody makes mistakes. Sometimes they don't show up. Sometimes you're not expecting them. Now, the 6th and final tip of what not to do as a beginner VA is get stuck in one place. Now, as a new VA, it can be really easy to pick some services and stick with them and not change at all because right now they're working. But if you want to grow your business as a virtual assistant, make more money, all of those sorts of things, then you need to grow as well. And that means adapting your services regularly. It means learning and studying new skills regularly. It means growing at the skills you already have. Okay, it can be so easy to get stuck in one place, to get stuck doing those same services and, not moving or adapting. And it's really important as new VAs, we're regularly checking in with ourselves, checking in with our work. Are we enjoying this? Is what we want to do? Is this going to grow as a business? Can I continue to grow to a point that I'm happy at? I mean, if you're happy with where you are, it's still important to grow and learn. Client businesses are ever adapting, and we also need to be adaptable. We need to adapt as our client businesses grow. Just because you start with a client for one thing doesn't mean you're going to stick with that client for that same thing. And both you and your client need to be looking forward. You need to be looking at how their business is growing, your business is growing, and continually learn and adapt to grow with them and grow in yourself. So that is one that I see all the time with new VAs is getting stuck with, well, this is what I started with, this is all I can do. And I just want you to remember that you can chop and change as you choose as a new VA. You're not stuck in one place. You can grow as your business grows. So that brings us to the end of the episode, and I really hope that you've walked away from this episode with some confidence in yourself. Just the fact that you're learning everything you can about starting and growing your own VA business is a huge step. If you have any questions, feel free to come and chat on Instagram or in the Facebook group, and I cannot wait to see you back here next week.